It's 59 years on from the first Ballon d'Or award, and at a time when many complain that the global game is becoming asphyxiated by systems. And how do I mean? We could talk about technology and teams that cancel each other out. And two street-style footballers, Ousmane Dembele and Lamine Yamal. I mean, these are two men whose body language lies to defenders, whose attacking anarchy makes fans feel volcanic joy and excitement. And they've dominated the voting this time, and they fought out a thrilling battle to be named the world's best player. But the fact remains that Dembele led his team, Paris Saint-Germain, to their first treble by finally making them European champions. And that meant he pipped the teenage Catalan genius, Lamine Yamal, who, by the way, becomes by 2 full years as well ahead of Ronaldo Nazario, Leo Messi, and Gianni Rivera, because those three players I mentioned were all 20 by the time they got their first Ballon d'Or podium finish, you know. So Lamine Yamal became the youngest ever to reach the Ballon d'Or podium. Dembele is 28 years old. I mean, he scored 35 goals in 53 appearances in all competitions for PSG last season, who also won Ligue 1 and the Coupe de France, in addition to their first ever Champions League trophy. And he became the 6th Frenchman to win it after Raymond Kopa, Michel Platini, Jean-Pierre Papin, Zinedine Zidane, and Karim Benzema. And that's why you have to celebrate him. We have to celebrate Ousmane Dembele. Welcome to the show this afternoon. Football 360 live on Pensioners 106.7 FM Agbarigo Nureke Ibadan, the voice of liberation at the first labor radio in the universe. I am EEDRIS ABIOLA. It's a pleasure to be right here again, and let's talk football for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes or thereabout, because we have less than an hour to go on the show today. So let me quickly welcome to the podium the man who is either he's on this side of the divider, he stays on that side that he is presently. And I'm talking about Simi. Simi, it's a pleasure to have you on the program today. How do you do?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Pleasure to be here. Another day. Last week it was via call.
Yeah.
But today we are doing this physically. A lot to talk about, as you've rightly highlighted. You know, from the Ballon d'Or to Lamine Yamal being the first young star in a while, ahead of the likes of Messi and Ronaldo to make podium before the age of 20, and wingman at the the women's coach of the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
as a freelancer said coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would have loved that we start on that very note, but because of so much more that is also happening on the home front, we'd rather take it right from home. And this is coming from the Super Falconet squad, because we understand that they will continue their quest to reach the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup tournament, any moment from now. But let's talk about what they've done already. Yes, on Sunday, they were in a match, and that match was against Rwanda. They defeated Rwanda 1-0 in their first leg qualification fixture in Kigali. Both sides went to the halftime interval with the scores remain goalless. But the second half saw a U-turn in the fortunes of the Nigerian team as Janet Takekoromowe powered home a header off a corner kick to give Nigeria the lead in the 70th minute, and it remained like that. So the good thing is that even as we broadcast from the Asian city, the second leg will take place right here in Ibadan. That's at the Lekon Salami Stadium on Saturday, the 27th of this month. And the winner will be moving on to the third round of the qualifiers, where they will meet either Senegal or Algeria. So we are looking forward to seeing the Super Falconets play right here in the ancient city of Ibadan. So we are looking forward to seeing them. That's the Under-20 Nigerian Under-20 women's team. And hopefully they're able to get to the third round. All right. We move to the Nigeria's Under-20 national team. That's for the men. The Flying Eagles. So they will be playing Australia Under-20 squad in a friendly match tonight, because both sides are trying to finalize the preparations for the upcoming 24th FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. So tonight we will see that friendly. And I also understand that the Under-20 FIFA World Cup is starting today in Chile as well. But the game between Nigeria and Australia will take place at the Complejo Deportivo Rucamapu in Santiago. And that game has been slated for 5 p.m. When I say 5 p.m., I mean 5 p.m. in Chile, not in Nigeria. So when they say 5 p.m. in Chile, it's apparently 9 p.m. Nigerian time. But you know the interesting part of it, Simi? A lot of tabloids, I mean news outlets in Nigeria, reported 1 p.m. Nigerian time. And it's 5 p.m. local time for them in Chile. But when you say 5 p.m. local time for them in Chile, you are talking about 9 p.m. tonight in Nigeria. So I began to fact check, and I realized that it's 9 p.m. Even the NFF reported 9 p.m. But I don't know where these outlets, all about 5 of them, reported 1 p.m. Nigerian time. So it also goes to show that some of our journalists who write for these outlets do not take their time to vet their reports. I mean, all in the name of I want to be the first person to report it, and it doesn't speak well of what we do, even as whether as broadcasters or as journalists. So we need to really take our time to vet our stories. Okay, that's it. So we want to see how they will fare as well. But I think Nigeria already played a friendly. That's a 1-0 draw against Chile themselves last Saturday in Rancagua. Ahmed Akinele put Nigeria ahead in the 18-minute, but Chile's Felipe Founders equalized in the 36-minute to level the score. And for the World Cup, Australia will compete in Group D alongside Italy, Cuba, and Argentina. Meanwhile, Nigeria is drawn in Group F, facing Norway, Saudi Arabia, and Colombia. So we will see how these boys will perform. But let's hope that tonight they're going to raise the bar even higher. We will talk about that very much later in our subsequent sports programs right here on this channel. Pensioners 106.7 FM Ibadan. So still talking about football at the age grade level, 5-time world champions, the Golden Eagles of Nigeria will kick off their campaign for another title against the Baby Cheetahs of Benin Republic tomorrow in Yamoussoukro, Ivory Coast. The match is part of the ongoing WAFU Under 17 Championship and is taking place at the Stade du Lycée Scientifique. The tournament is hosted by Ivory Coast, and it serves as the qualifying competition for the 2026 Africa Under 17 Cup of Nations. And the event, the Africa Under 17 Cup of Nations, will now determine Africa's representatives for the FIFA Under 17 World Cup finals scheduled for next year in Qatar. So for the WAFU B Under 17 Championship in Group A, we have Cote d'Ivoire. By the way, Cote d'Ivoire got a 2-0 victory down the line over Niger Republic. Togo and Ghana in their own first game, they played out a 1-0 draw in the second match of Group A. So Group B comprises Nigeria, Benin Republic, as well as Burkina Faso. So Group B began their own group fixtures with Burkina Faso's Baby Stallions narrowly edging Benin 1-0 in the opening match of the 3-team group. Of course, Nigeria and Benin Republic will now face tomorrow in Yamoussoukro. Let's hope that Nigeria also starts on a very good note right here. So 10 minutes, gone past the hour of 3. We move down to what went down at the CAF Champions League semi this time around. You know, you and I were talking about, I think it was last Tuesday or on Saturday, we were talking about how important it would be for Nigerian teams to at least use this opportunity to lay down the mark on the continent. We've always talked about how bad they've been performing. And for Remo Stars in particular, this is going to mark the 4th time they will find themselves on the continent. And it's not very, I think the last time they went, you know, not too far from this time. So the consistency is now there for Remo Stars. I mean, they now know what it takes to do well on the continent. And maybe it was for the same reason that they had to dismantle Comoros champions, US Zelamaju, 4-0. Even though that game was played at home, maybe away from home, MK ABIOLA Stadium, Abeokuta on Sunday. Remo took the lead in the 13th minute through Leonard Ngege. The pressure, they continue to pile the pressure, mount the pressure on their opposition, and eventually paid off in the first half stoppage time as Ebuka Anthony slotted calmly into the bottom corner to make it 2-0 at the break. Remo continued their dominance after the restart, and in the 69 minutes, substitute Agama Goita rose highest to meet Abubakar's precise cross, ending in the third. And 10 minutes later, another substitute, Samson Olashupo, sealed the victory. So they are in a good pace. They are in a good position, strong position ahead of Friday's second leg, which will also be played at the same venue due to the stadium arrangement they had together with CAF and US Zelamaju, because in Comoros they do not have a standard pitch stadium to play a game of this size, a game of this magnitude. So, talking about Remo Stars, ordinarily you wouldn't expect any Nigerian team, with all due respect to them in Comoros, you would not expect any Nigerian team to lose to a side from Comoros,
Yes.
but that Remo Stars could beat them 4 goals to nothing. Number one, would you give them credit for that, knowing fully well that Comoros is not a country that is known really for football, and again, knowing fully well that Remo Stars are playing at home, or you want to also call them some slack that whether the side Zidane is from Comoros or not, that Remo Stars can win 4-0 on the continent is something they have to be given a slack for.
Well, I'll give them kudos because as much as you would not expect any Nigerian side of that quality, making it to the CAF Champions League to lose to a team from Comoros, the fact that they made a statement with that win is enough kudos. It's enough for them to get kudos. 4-0 victory is definitely a statement win. Anywhere you find that kind of performance. So they made good account of themselves. They had an explosive performance, even in terms of the what they displayed on the pitch, as well as the number of goals that they netted. The only problem for me is I believe this stage is done and dusted. It's just the second preliminary round that they should be worried about. Even from the onset, I believe everybody will have expected Remo Stars to definitely move past the first stage.
Okay. Everybody would expect Remo Stars to move past the first stage, and for them, like I said, victory. They have the second leg to look forward to this Friday, and victory across both legs, which I think by now they've already sealed. We set up a high-profile. Okay, I'm not going there now. Let's listen to Leonard Ngege. That's the defender who who scored the first goal for Remo Stars. He speaks on his performance on the continent, the debut goal, as well as the coach's trust and more. Listen to Leonard Ngege of Remo Stars.
What is it feeling like right now?
I'm excited, to be honest. I'm thrilled. I say thanks to God. I really appreciate the fact that all of this happened, and it's actually kind of it's not an personal performance or an individual performance. I had support from the coach, from the players, encouragement, and they pushed me and they believed in me. So I think and I know that what made me had an exquisite performance and gotten a goal.
Speaking of the performance, the last time you played it was not really good. What is the feeling like right now? Do you think you can kick off from here and try to gain the hearts of Nigerians again?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I have to say I don't play for people, because when you're doing well, they'll talk. You're not doing well, they'll talk. So I just have to do what I have to do for myself. And, it's all about you, just make yourself happy. And about the performance, the last performance, it wasn't planned for. And it's kind of like a learning process. So I'm not saying I've learned that I'm too good now. I'm just saying that I'm still, it actually made me step up.
Next game, I'm looking forward to the same performance from Leonard on the second leg.
Leonard Ngege of Remo Stars there, speaking about the last performance as well as what they are looking forward to. But the interesting thing about it, to me, is that should they pull through, it's going to be a high-profile encounter against South African giant Mamelodi Sundowns. This is where I'm beginning to think that it might be the end of the road again for a big, or let me say a huge Nigerian side as far as the Champions League is concerned this year, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, from the onset, ever since the drawings came out, I believe that has been the concern of a lot of fans. That's how will the defending champion or the current champion, fare against another defending champion of the CAF Champions League itself, in Mamelodi Sundowns, and a team who, gave a very good account of themselves in the Club World Cup as well, representing Africa. How will they be able to push past that kind of team, and move to the group stage of the CAF Champions League? So honestly, it's a shame that Remo has find themselves in this situation. But I think what a lot of fans will be satisfied with is if they can be able to reduce whatever margin that they will get beaten at. Because at this point, I believe.
So you don't have the confidence that they will
Honestly,
pull through.
for me, I don't have that confidence that they will go through. And do, if they do, they will put a target on their back as a team to watch out for. And it will also be a statement for Nigeria itself as a whole that finally, after all these years, for over a decade now, maybe since 2008 or 2007, we have a team that might just maybe as early as this time
Yeah.
go as far as the quarterfinals, the semi-finals. We had Rivers United push as far as the the group stage or the quarterfinals in their last outing in the CAF Champions League, if I'm not mistaken. So now you defeat a defending champion, the Mamelodi Sundowns, then you are definitely putting a target on your back and making a big statement, especially if you do it in a convincing manner. So, but being realistic and being logical is not looking possible. It's not looking possible. But I'll never rule anything out. But it's just a shame that that team of such quality and a team that could give us a good representation in the Champions League would have to face this manner of team so early in the competition.
So early in the competition. But I also think that another good side of it is that even if they go out at this stage, 150 million naira is waiting for them. But that should not be, or that should not mean that they should not try their best to ensure that they power to victory against Mamelodi Sundowns. Because I see the game, the second leg against US Lemaju, as a game that is done and dusted already.
Obviously.
I do not think that even if they would be going to play away from home, traveling away from Nigeria to another country to play it shouldn't be tough for them, with all due respect to their opposition in the US Lemaju. Okay, but another side of that, Sime, is the fact that is it right? When will it be the right time for CAF to even think that, look, how can champions of leagues, for instance, in South Africa and Nigeria, how can they be playing qualifying matches before they get to the group stages of CAF interclub competitions? I think it is high time CAF started to think about what to do. I know that, yes, if you talk about our league in Nigeria, maybe it's not where it's supposed to be in terms of standard, but then we've seen how it's been done in Europe. Except where football is less fancy, that's where you get to see the top sides there. Even those that have won the league would eventually end up playing in the qualifier. And that's in a country or in countries where their football is less developed compared to the rest of Europe. But here in Africa, I don't think you will count about 5 leagues that are better. If you count about 5 leagues, then the 6 will definitely come from Nigeria. Because I do not think that after South Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Algeria, so maybe Sudan, because of what El Merreikh has been able to do over the years. I don't think, apart from that, there's any other country that comes close to Nigeria. Nigeria should definitely be one of the 10. And in Africa, if you're champions in one of the first 10 countries, you should not be playing qualifiers before you get to the group stage of CAF interclub competition. That's my point.
Yeah, I understand. And the amazing part of it is even champions of the competition itself. You look at Mamelodi Sundowns, you look at them Ali lads, they still partake in this preliminary stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Mamelodi would do against Remo
Stars.
So you can say maybe because it has been for a while. Maybe we can argue that because a lot of teams will be coming from most of these countries. I think 64 are clubs
now.
Maybe, just maybe, but I think I would want to agree with that sentiment. And you look at other competitions, look at the World Cup, for example. We have 64 countries that would partake, and there is no what's it called now? No qualifier. Go straight to the group stage. So maybe they can just.
Yeah, but they play. Okay, you're talking about the FIFA Club World Cup.
The competition itself.
Okay.
They go straight to the group stage. So if it is to extend the number of groups, I think they should be able to do that and be able to cut down to finally a round of 16 or a round of whatever they want to cut it down to. But honestly, it's disheartening. You look at other leagues who do not participate in this manner. And I also want to agree with that sentiment that the top 5-6 leagues should be able to get automatic qualification into the group stage. Get that assurance as a team or a club coming out from those leagues, and then the other ones who are coming out from much lesser leagues can battle it out for sports, just like they do in Europe or they do in every other competition that we know of.
Okay, we will see how CAF tackles that going forward. But Nigeria's other representatives in the CAF Champions League, Rivers United, they began their own campaign with a goalless draw against FC Le Aigle de Congo in Kinshasa. I think not a bad one for them. The fact that they traveled to play away from home, you can also give it to Rivers United. But where they will have issues with Nigerians would be when, by the time they play at home and they are unable to get a win. I think that's where they're going to have issues with Nigerians. But let's take our gaze away from the CAF Champions League and let's talk about the CAF Confed Cup, where Kwara United, they were in action, and Abia Warriors. But for Kwara United, it was a narrow 4-3 loss away from home to Ghanaian outfit Asante Kotoko at the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup at the world-famous Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi. They said you will never go to the Baba Yara Stadium to play against any team in Ghana and expect that you come back home with a win. Have the Super Eagles even tried it? I think the Chan Eagles tried it.
Yeah.
I think they didn't win.
They did not.
They
I
didn't,
think we had a draw.
I knew they didn't win because it was what everybody was saying that is that Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi, Ghana, you dare not go there and expect that you get a win. You don't get a win at the Baba Yara Stadium. But another Nigerian side, Kwara United, went there over the last weekend. They were unable to get a win. They lost 4-3. And the story and the narrative continues. The Harmony Boys are bidding to secure a place in the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup. So if they will be able to do it, we will see. But they really tried. I think they came back thrice in that game to level things up with the homers, but eventually they had to succumb to the superpower in quotes of Asante Kotoko. So their coach, Tunde Soni, is now saying, yes, they are not done yet, but they will try everything within their power to ensure that they qualify for the second round of the CAF Confed Cup. So I've been told that they will play their game also at the MK ABIOLA Stadium in Abeokuta. That's the venue that Remo Stars are also using. So it's already done and dusted, and we'll see how they will fare going forward. So 27th of September, that's when the second leg will also be taking place. Abia Warriors could not make home advantage count. They were held to a 1-1 draw at home by Jodeba FC of Mali. That game was played at the Umaya Township Stadium on Sunday. And as it stands, Abia Warriors must score in the return fixture. Given that